What's up guys, it's Bitter Blade Co. And today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a resin ring without a lathe. Here we go. Alright, so the first step to making a resin ring without a lathe is to go on Amazon and buy these. These are diamond hole saws. They're about 20 bucks for this whole thing. They're all in millimeters, so you guys who hate metric are going to have to man up. So they're all in millimeters, and what you can do is you can just measure them with calipers like I do, and go online and you can see that this is about 18 millimeters, and you can convert ring sizes in US ring sizes to millimeters. So we're going to make a size 8 today, so we're going to use an 18 millimeter inner and about a 28 millimeter outer to rough out a ring blank so we don't have to do a lot of carving. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the drill press, we're going to clamp this down, drill this hole first, and then this hole without moving this, and we should get a perfectly centered blank with no lathe, no CNC, and just with a drill press. Alright, so as you can see here, I have this piece clamped down, and through this entire process, we're not going to move this piece. So first, I'm going to pilot drill this with a 1/4-inch bit. Alright, so as you can see, I just changed out the 1/4-inch bit for the 18 millimeter hole saw. So next, we're going to drill this out. And lastly, I have the largest bit in there so we can drill the outer diameter of our ring blank. Alright, so we just drilled those out with the hole saws, and if we can get these out, try not to scratch the ring. As you can see, we have our ring blank ready to be sanded down. Now right now, as far as wall thickness goes, we're at 0.158, and we want to get to about 0.1 to make a nice comfortable ring. And so we have some sanding to do, and I'll tell you how to do that in a second. As you can see, doesn't fit my fat hand. And you know, we drilled the pilot hole in the center and the smaller hole for the inner diameter of the ring. Now this is pretty cool because once we get this part out, sometimes I get a little bit stuck in there. No big deal. We have a bead blank to match our ring. So I think that's pretty cool about using the hole saws is that compared to using a big Forstner bit, you don't waste material and you could still make a bead out of this. So we have a ring blank and a bead blank ready to be turned, and I will tell you how to do that without a lathe right now. Alright, so here's my quote-unquote lathe. It is a corded drill with a bolt in the chuck wrapped with electrical tape. Now ideally you could buy a ring chuck and put it in here, a ring man drill and put it in the chuck and do it that way, but I didn't know if I liked turning rings, so I just left this on, and of course, as we all know, temporary things eventually become permanent. So I just have a bolt with a bunch of electrical tape wrapped around it, and that's my ring chuck. And different sizes, I could take off tape or add tape depending on what it is. It is kind of wasteful, but I bought the entire stack of electrical tape for, I don't know, like $5. So, yeah. I can get a lot of chucks out of that. So, yeah, that's basically it. And I'll show you how I set this up in a second. So here it is, the super duper high-tech ring lathe. Well, no lathe, but if you don't have a lathe, this is what you could do. You could use a corded drill, you could use a cordless drill. This is what I used first, and then I got this from a yard sale for like $1. Nice drill, actually, for $1. And, you know, you just put the ring on there, and you use different grits. The smart thing about using these hole saws is that you don't need to hog out any material. So you don't need a tool rest or anything. You can just start with sandpaper and smooth this out. And the only disadvantage to this is that you have to do the inside by hand, but because these are pretty clean, there's not huge scratches within the ring, so you don't have to worry about really hogging inside material out. And it's also good to keep around one of these, the plastic mandrel sizer. Got it on Amazon for like $6, so you could see the size of ring that you're at. As you can see, we're at about 8. So that tells me that I shouldn't go too heavy on sanding the inside if I want to get to about an 8 or 8.5. But if I really needed to size this ring up, I'd use a larger outer diameter. And then I'd use the Dremel with a sanding drum in it and just go around. And it takes some practice, but like anything, practice makes perfect. So I'm going to chuck this up, and we're going to start, say, with maybe 220 or 100, and start to sand this. As you can see, my chuck is getting worn out, so I probably have to rewrap this. But, I mean, it might seem a little bit janky and a kind of a non-by-the-book. But if it gets you in the shop and makes rings, that's what you got to do. And obviously, you can work your way out from doing this to buying a lathe. Here is my lathe. It's a Shopfox Jet, but I don't have a chuck and I don't have a tool post, so it's just been sitting here, sadly. I want to thank Chris Zeppieri for getting me this lathe. So all my rings that you see on my page from this point and backwards have been made this method by putting a drill in the vise. And just a word of caution, if you put anything in a vise ever, use a rag to cushion it. And because drills are very powerful and very torquey, you want to make sure that the rag is behind the chuck, because if this rag gets caught in this, it can get very dangerous very quickly. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by taking some sandpaper, folding it over, dipping it in water, and as this turns, I'll use my left hand on the trigger away from it, and I'll go behind it like this, and sand like that. Now I'm going to speed it up for you so you don't wait there. Now I make rings generally in about an hour. Like a ring in about an hour. So I'll see how I can do this one and show you guys, and I'll keep you updated with what I do. Alright, now what I'm doing is I'm turning it with my left hand, as you can see, like so. And then as it turns, I'm going to work it with the sandpaper side to side, rounding it over slowly and getting these big scratches out. Now 220 and 100 is really rough, so I'd use that to take out the big scratches from the hole saws. And then round over the edges, I'll use like 100. And then, you know, as I get higher and higher, I'll go faster and faster. And, you know, keep rounding it over. Alright, now I'm going to start rounding over the insides and the outsides for the ring. Alright, so next, what I'm going to do is, I just finished the rough grit for the outside of the ring, and now we're going to take some sandpaper and get a little piece, go on the inside, start sanding like this. Make sure it's wet, go around the entire part of the ring. And you want to keep checking not to pass the size that you want. Right now I'm right at the size, right behind it, so I'm going to be a little bit light on the inside so I don't take off too much material and make an oversized ring. So basically, it's just the same process over and over again. You start at the rougher grits and work your way up until you get to about 2,000. I'm not there yet. I'm at about 600 right now. And you can still see some scratches, so once in a while I'll just dry it off and look for the scratches of the previous grit and just sand them out. And just work your way up, very repetitive, keep the sandpaper wet, and keep going. Alright, so it looks like it's going to be about an 8.25, 8 1/4. Oh, what are you going to do? Well, if you're careful, you could get it to the right spot, but it might end up being 8 1/2. What are you going to do? Alright, so we just got finished with 2,000. Focus. Alright, we just got finished with 2,000. As you can see there, it's still kind of rough. The light will focus. There we go. Ooh, look at that. It's still kind of foggy, cloudy. So, in order to bring these colors out, we're going to buff it. So, we got to buff the inside and the outside. The outside, after we got it to 2,000, we're just going to put it on the drill and get some of this polishing compound, put it on a paper towel, and buff it out. But for the inside, we're going to take some of this and put it on this Dremel, on this Dremel wheel. I'm losing the name of it. Buffing wheel on the Dremel, and just, polish up the inside, and as I drop it. Alright, as you can see, as we wipe some of the extra compound off of this ring, the inside is pretty shiny. Now I just got to do the outside, and we'll be that much closer to done, and the size is 8 1/4. So we overshot a little bit, but it's all about learning, and as you know, I'm still learning, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Alright, so here it is, the finished ring. Size 8 1/4. No lathe. Resin ring. I think it came out pretty nice. As you can see there, the pattern. Now, I'm no hand model, but I'll load some pictures at the end of the video. So, guys, that's basically it. Like, subscribe, comment if you got any questions. So go out, get yourself some diamond hole saws off Amazon, a vise, a drill, some sandpaper, and get to work. If you have any questions, like I said, comment down below. Check out my Instagram, Bitter Blade Co. I want to thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day.